Fifth time's the charm. I've had to stop this video 5 times now because I've been tending to some things, my family, and also my loving, beautiful, incredible girlfriend who, fingers crossed, I'm gonna marry someday. Love her to death. She is the light of my life. I cannot, I could go on and on for hours about her. But anyway, yeah, so who would have thought? Not me. Never really expected to be sitting here doing a video like this. Well, actually, a little bit. I've created many videos over the years, over the last 4 years, always telling myself that I'm going to do this and that this is the one. This is the one I'm going to post. This is the one that I'm finally going to get out of my comfort zone and do it. And then I never posted it. So, better late than never, because I have a 150-point podcast assignment that I have to turn in for class. So, forced me to do it. Yes, I am a senior here at, to give a little context, I'm a senior here at Washington State University. I will be graduating in about 45 days. Insane. I really am unk now. I'm not gonna lie. I am old. At least I feel old, but no, in all seriousness, it's crazy, you know. It's crazy to be here. It's crazy that I get to sit here, that I had the privilege of being able to even be here in the first place. I never really thought I'd make it this far. I never really thought that I would be sitting doing a video like this. I never thought that I would make it far enough to graduate. You know, these last 4 years have been the most tremendously difficult years of my life. You know, I wouldn't change a thing either. I am so grateful for everything and for all the experiences that I've had, and both good and bad. You know, things have not exactly been perfect, but I know that they could always be worse. You know, everybody always thinks that their problems or people like to compare, but or you know, comparison is the thief of joy in many ways, but like in comparison to many, I you know, I am very lucky to be where I'm at, and to just have had the struggles that I have, to have learned the lessons that I have, and to have become who I am today through these lessons, and just a blessed life, just incredibly grateful for everything that has been given to me. And but yeah, you know, it's all coming full circle. For the last 4 years, I've been, as much as my life has been a crapshoot, I've also always been put together. You know, I've always been the grade A student, graduating summa cum laude, degree in strategic communications. So don't give me too much credit, but you know, I've just always been the top achiever, the one that always shows up, the one always doing things, and I'll acknowledge it. You know, this year has been the complete opposite of that. I pulled myself together last semester to get my grades to a 4.0 and be able to graduate with summa cum laude honors, but at the same time, I didn't put in the work that was necessary. I didn't put in the time and the effort. I showed up every day, but mentally I wasn't there. I've struggled mightily with my mental health this year, but also just these last 4 years. My freshman year here was probably the hardest year of my life, and I would argue that this year has come in close contention with that. As good as things have been in moments, you know, there's been a great number of hardships that I've faced this year, and you know, I wouldn't change any of them because they've taught me certain things and they've changed my perspective on things. To give a little context, I guess, my dog got hit by a car. He survived, thank God. Scared the living crap out of me. I got into a car accident and almost died. Still reeling from that one. You know, relationships have tarnished, especially recently. Relationships have tarnished. Relationships have also been built as well. I met my beautiful, loving girlfriend, who I really hope to marry someday. and she is the light of my life. She gives me a shining beacon of hope every single day and reminds me. She just makes me feel like a kid again in every single way, and I am just so incredibly blessed for her. I'm so incredibly blessed to live with my incredible sister, who is my best friend, outside of my loving girlfriend, obviously. Um, I am so blessed for the friends that I have, but I would sing their praises up and down every single day, whether it be the few friends that I've made here, which haven't exactly made many, but um, back home especially, my heart goes out to them every single day. I wouldn't be where I'm at without them, and um, yeah, I'll stop because I can go on and on and on and on. I could sing the praises of every single person that I love, but um, all that to say, things have come really full circle because over all these years I've been so put together. I've been the one that everybody counts on. I've been the one that is the one that everybody leans on, the voice of reason, the one that people tend to come to when they're at their lowest. Even when I'm at my lowest, um, I pull myself up and I'm able to get people to where they hope to be, mentally, physically, wherever it happens to be. Um, and this year, as much as I've given myself to that, and I've really put the energy into um, remaining that person, um, I haven't exactly been able to keep up with it as much. And um, I haven't been keeping up in my classes. I haven't been focused. I haven't been putting in the effort. Um, I have been making a lot more decisions for me. I always talked a bit of a big game about where I was going to go. Not exactly in a cocky or arrogant way, but like in a sense of I had big dreams. Like at one point I hoped to be an actor, and then at another point I hope to one day go into marketing for a company like Chanel or like Yves Saint Laurent or something like that. Something in the fragrance department. I've always appreciated that, but um, or maybe do music or something. And I do hope to pursue that passion because poetry is something I really appreciate, and music songwriting is something that I definitely want to get deeper into, as well as music creation in general. And hopefully, maybe one day we can get there. This is a little, a little hobby, Um, but I always talked about all these dreams that I had, and just recently, in meeting my incredible girlfriend, I realized something. Uh, I realized that a lot of these things that I was chasing, a lot of these things that I had been envisioning for myself, the moment I met her, it was a wake-up call that, am I really chasing what I truly desire from my life? Or am I chasing a dream that has been set for me? Am I chasing a dream to live up to an expectation that people have held for me rather than living for myself? And did not, enunciation was not good on that one. But am I living for others rather than living for myself? Am I living somebody else's dream? And within one night of meeting her and having a conversation and being able to get deeper, and I'm not gonna lie, she picked my brain pretty good. And in that moment, I realized I never wanted any of this. I had been living up to the expectations of the people that I had grown up around and the people that I cared about most in my life. And as much as I love them to death, and I will be nothing but grateful for them for the entirety of my life, um, I realized that I was unknowingly living for other people. I was doing all these things to live up to an expectation that had been set for me since I was a child, and at least that I had felt was set up for me since I was a child. These things that we learn when we're young. And something switched. I gave it all up. I stopped caring as much about these things that I was involved with, or these things that I was putting so much of my energy and my time into. I took a step back, and I I changed paths. Instead of deciding that I wanted to be this marketing exec or going into this corporate structure that didn't really feel fit for me, I decided I'm going to be a teacher. I'm going to be an educator. I want to, more than anything, the thing that's always remained true in my life is that I wanted to make an impact on people. That still remains. As much as I haven't been as connected as I used to be in the past. Which I've needed to take a step for myself. But um, more than anything in this world, all I want to do is help people, especially younger people. I want to help because my high school years were so influential on getting me to where I am today. And um, the thing that I hang on to a lot is that the teachers that I've met along the way have really been the guiding force behind, or I'd say the guiding force behind getting me to where I am and helping me through a lot of these hardships and helping me through a lot of these challenging times in my life. And more than anything, I want to be one of those people. I want to be one of those people that can help and be an influential voice in a positive way. I want to be able to help, to give guidance, to help better understand or help somebody else better understand themselves, and also better understand myself and grow a better understanding of the hardships that others face, and be able to kind of look at things from an outside lens, and just take away all these different lessons, to always be growing, to always be adaptable, and to never be afraid of changing my mind, or of hearing the differing experiences and perspectives that life has to hold. And it lit up my world. She lit up my world, and this idea lit up my world, because it's been something that I've been thinking about for a long time. And to be able to say, I'm giving all of this up because it's not me, it's not who I truly want to be. I trust my vision. I'm gonna go for this. It's one of the most freeing things I've ever felt. And not everybody has agreed with me, and I've noticed that I haven't been as close with people, and that's partially on me as well. I feel that a lot of people that I know are going in different directions, and that's okay. It's okay to for people to move in different ways, and for things to change. And I've noticed a lot of that change in myself. And it hasn't exactly been the easiest transition, but it's been a blessing, because I've realized now the importance of really choosing the self. I hear a lot of people talk about protecting energy, right? About choosing the self. Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers by Kendrick Lamar is a very influential album to me, along with Dear Wormwood by the Oh Hellos. I listened to these albums on the same day when I was at work one day. My friends had just gotten on a plane to go travel to a different country. I believe it was, I don't actually know. I think it might have been Hawaii, but my friends got on a plane, and while I was at work in the 95-degree heat, always been a kind of a blue-collar worker, if I'm being honest. Not afraid to get my hands dirty and work outside, especially for that summer tan. It gets beautiful around here. But over on the west side too. I'm from that area, so just 95-degree heat burning down on me, and I'm listening to these two albums, and it's about choosing the self. It's about embracing your hardships and embracing the darker side of yourself. And the two songs that really stuck out to me were Dear Wormwood, the title track of Dear Wormwood. I believe it's the third to last album or it's third to last song on the album, and then Mirror by Kendrick Lamar on Mr. Morale. And for each of these songs, I remember stepping away from my work, going to the bathroom and crying profusely, because I had allowed other people in my life to make decisions for me, including not going on this trip. I was talked out of it. Um, and I sat there and I realized, like, I need to make decisions for myself. You know, I've lived in the image of what everybody's wanted me to be for my entire life, and I've held opinions and perspectives on people that were positive and or negative, um, because of what others wanted me to think, what others wanted me to believe. And I realized that it's up to me to decide those things. It's up to me to find the truth of what I truly feel, to find what hides below the surface and what really I feel in my soul compared to what others are feeding into my mind. And it was a breath of fresh air, a hard pill to swallow, that's for sure, but it just felt freeing. And I remember talking to my coworker um, right after, and I said, you know, I skipped this trip, and I just really, you know, I feel like I missed out. I really feel like I didn't take an opportunity to do something that I knew would change my life and something that I knew would give me something to think about for a long time. And I remember he put his hands on my shoulders and he said, look at me, and told me, don't ever don't ever listen to somebody telling you to do something you don't want to do, or don't let people decide these things for you. Go on those trips, go on an adventure, talk to that person, do these different things. Don't let anybody convince you otherwise. Don't let your parents, don't let your family, don't let your friends, don't let anybody stand in the way of you making a decision for yourself. And that always stuck with me. And now I look back on that because there's been many times after that where I've allowed myself to make decisions not based on exactly what I feel, not based on what I want to do, but based on what others want me to do. And more importantly, what I feel will make others happy. I've made a lot of decisions in my life to try and please, to try and help people, you know, and it's not out of poor intention. It's always out of good intention. I've tried really hard to be the best possible person I can be, to be the most supportive, to be the most kind, to be the most generous, even if it puts me in a hard position. I've taken that sacrifice for the betterment, what I feel is the betterment of others. And, you know, in many regards, I feel that I've been told many times that I've had the ability to do that. And it's been really humbling in many ways, to really just be able to know the impact that you make on another life, especially coming from somebody who made it their mission many years ago to be a light, to be a guiding light for many of the people that felt lost, and for many of the people that have struggled and have been through hardship similar to mine. You know, I made a rule for myself, you know, if you're gonna, every morning when you get up and every day, make sure that by the end of the day, you can't look back and say, man, I really messed up on this one. I really did this. I really should have been better on this one. You know, not in the traditional sense of like, I messed this proposal up or I messed this assignment up, but more so in the sense of be kind to all. Hold the door every chance that you get. Ask somebody how they're doing every chance you get. Say hi when somebody makes eye contact with you. Shake the professor's hand. Be a light when you're surrounded by darkness. And that's been my mission. It was to make sure that every single day no matter what, that if I was going to do anything, I was going to make sure that I could be somebody's good moment. If somebody was having a bad day, or if something was going on, maybe just me holding the door, maybe just me saying something really could make a difference. And I wanted to make that difference. So I did. And, I've heard so many people tell me all these great things. And, it feels like it's almost, I feel so grateful, but I also feel so empty in a way, I guess. Because like I love helping, and I love being there for people, and it's such a rewarding experience to be told how much of an impact you've made. But I think for anybody that might deal with anxiety, or you know very self-aware, or self-esteem issues, such as myself, I think it's kind of a hard harrowing experience as well, because you kind of sit there and you go, why me? Like, what makes me special? I was just trying to do something, or like I was just doing what I felt like was the bare minimum, and I've made such an impact. I've helped this person overcome this, or I've saved this person from this, or I've talked somebody through this, and it's like, man, I feel like I don't deserve this praise. I feel like I don't deserve to be appreciated for this. I don't feel like I deserve it. And it's just kind of a hard experience, because, especially from, somebody who tends to put others before themselves, it's always been a challenging thing to hear, because, I help so many people, and I try really, really hard, and many of the times it feels as though there's only one person I can't help, and it's myself. And I think that often comes in waves, and it tends to hit me differently at different points in my life. And it's just, it's a lot, and I'm not exactly sure where I was going with this, but I think that this is a good note. I think that this is a good spot to really kind of sit with, in the sense of, I've struggled for a long time with not vulnerability. I've always been emotional. I've always been very willing to cry. I've always been very willing to be very joyful, to be very excited, to be very to dance in the streets when nobody else is happy, or when nobody else is smiling. To be joyful and exuberant and crazy, and kind of make a fool of myself. But so be it. Who cares who's watching? It doesn't really matter. Maybe it'll bring a smile to somebody's face. But I've also never been afraid to cry. I've never been afraid to show these deeper emotions. But I've always been afraid to talk about them. I've always been afraid to actually truly get to another level with people, and to really, really open up. I'll talk about things, I'll open up, but there's a lot that bellows beneath the surface that I don't open up about, that I don't talk to people about. And I think it's given me a chance to kind of look at myself and see that, in trying so desperately to help others all the time, to put others before myself all the time, that it is never allowed me to fill the emptiness that I often feel. Because when nobody else is around, when nobody else is with me, and the silence becomes deafening, all I feel is emptiness. I could fill it with video games, I could fill it with music, I could fill it with television, movies. But the truth is that no matter how hard I try, and writing and everything, no matter how much I try, no matter how much I put into these things that I'm deeply passionate about, nothing has been able to fill that void. And it can be really sobering, sitting in a room by yourself, nobody else around, just hearing yourself think. And the thoughts are not always pretty. Very much the opposite, in fact. And in one of my therapy sessions recently, that is something I talked deeply, really opened up about, is I got to the root of a lot of these things and broke down a lot of these parts of myself, and the takeaway was, I think you feel empty, and I think you try to fill it with extracurriculars, with getting involved, with helping everybody. But at the end of the day, when you go back and sit by yourself, how do you truly feel? And for a long time, it's been empty. For a long time, I have done everything that I was supposed to do. And now that I haven't done that, I feel like there's been a disconnect. And maybe I'll recognize, like, it's partially my fault. If I'm changing, then the person that people used to know, the people that I know are not going to connect with the person they used to know as much as the person they know now, because I'm changing in many ways, and that's not a bad thing. And people are changing in themselves too. It's not just a singular party, right? But I think it can be kind of a hard moment to kind of look at these things and look at these relationships that I've held on to, and kind of see that now that the tides are turning and things have changed, people aren't as close to me. People aren't as connected to me, nor am I as connected to them specifically. I would say that that's a large part of it. I would say that I'm probably the largest contributor to that. It's my fault, But it really does kind of open my eyes to the importance of choosing the self, of when the lights are off, when the cameras are down, when the curtains are closed, who are you really sitting with? And for many years I've questioned that. For many years I've thought I found it. I thought I found the answer, and I've tried to be something I'm not. I've tried so desperately to never hide behind a mask, but in doing so, I was wearing a mask. That was a mask in and of itself, because I was trying to represent somebody that doesn't wear a mask, while the mask was never fully off. And I've realized that I can't hide behind anything, because there's nothing more beautiful than the self. And I don't truly love myself for everything that I am. I will admit that right away. But I will admit that I want to. I really do. All I've ever wanted is to be able to love another, and thank God I have. If my girlfriend is watching this, I won't name drop her, but if you're watching this, I love you with everything in me, and I always will. And I can't wait to marry you someday. But more than anything other than loving somebody else, I've always wanted to love myself. And it's a process. We're not fully there yet. Not even close, I don't think. I think we're getting better, that's for sure. But it's one step at a time. And we're not where we want to be yet, because there's still times I sit in this room or any other room, and no matter what I surround myself by, it will never fill the hole. The only thing that will fill that hole is me. And I think it's about time that I learned to love myself. I think for anybody watching this, if you feel misunderstood, if you feel empty, if you feel lost, just know that you will never be alone if you truly love yourself. Protect yourself, protect your energy. Stand for what you believe in. Even if everybody disagrees with you, trust your vision, because at the end of the day, that's all you have. And you will always have people there to love you and support you, whether you believe it or not. But nobody will be a bigger supporter in your life than you. You have to be your number one fan. And just know that just as I will be cheering myself on in this one, I will be cheering everybody that watches this on as well. Everybody watching this, I hope that you find what you're looking for. I hope to be back. I hope to make another video. I ordered a couple mics, so they're going to be coming in a day after this assignment's due. So sadly, if my audio quality is not good, I tried my best. But just know, if there's anybody else cheering for you, I'm one of them, because I know how hard this times can get. I know how confusing life can be, how challenging life can be. But just know that you're never alone in this. And I will always be cheering you on, even if I don't know you, even if we never meet face to face, even if you feel lost and alone. Just know there's somebody out there who you've never met, cheering you on from the sidelines, hoping that you make it someday. And there's so many more out there. This life is truly something special. As hard and as crazy as it can be, especially right now, there's always something out there for us. And this life truly is one of one. It's beautiful in both its beauty and its darkness. And finding those times of light and scattered throughout that darkness really reminds you of just how incredible things can be. And I hope for you that each day you're able to find one little moment of light to carry you through all that darkness. And hopefully, maybe I could be that one. But if I'm not, hopefully you'll find it somewhere else. I think I'll leave it there for today. But I greatly, greatly appreciate you listening. I greatly appreciate you watching this video. Thank you so much for your time. I hope you have an incredible night, an incredible day. And I will see you on the next one. Goodbye.